coming? So we pause it. Stay with. We should begin because Ustaz Ahmed going to get lighter. I just realized. Huh? خلاص, we can start. Let's continue. Right. So we said niyat, right? Niyatun is the plural of niyat. So we have innamal a'malu bin niyati. Ustaz Ahmed, you will live a long life. I was just talking about, mentioning you. Where have you gone? All right, page 6, people, page 6. Hadith number 1. Innamal a'malu bin niyati. So we said there are 3 words in this sentence, 2 of which you should be familiar with, or you may be acquainted with, or at least I assume that you're familiar with it. The first one is a'mal, which is the plural of amal, which here has been translated as actions. Actions. And then we have niyat, which is the plural of niyatun, which we said means intentions. And then you've got this word innama. Innama. And I've said previously, those of you who've studied with me, we said innama gives you the meaning of, who remembers? Innama gives you what benefit? Indeed only is by inna. Inna gives you indeed only. What does innama give you? Innama gives you exclusivity. Exclusivity. So for example, if I say to you, only Ibrahim is a student. Yeah? Only Ibrahim is a student. Innama Ibrahim at-talibu. Yeah? So when I say only Ibrahim is a student, what have I done here? I've not simply affirmed that Ibrahim is a student. I've said that he's the only person who's a student. So here I've singled him out. Under provided, the term we use in English is exclusivity, or if you want, you can use the word singularity. So exclusivity seeks to negate its opposite. So if I say to you, only Ibrahim is a student, then is Ahmed a student? Based on this sentence, no. Based on this sentence, it's a no on the sentence structure. What are the other ways in which you create exclusivity? By saying, for example, in the Arabic, you'll come across it, there is no student except Ibrahim. Yeah? When we say La ilaha illallah, there is none worthy of worship besides God, except God. So here there's a complete negation of absolutely no God, nothing is God, no person is God except Allah. So what comes after the exception is that basically it's a way of saying only Allah is God. As the Quran says, Innama ilahukumullah. Look, Innama ilahukumullah. Innama, look, that word came again. Innama ilahukumullah. Innama ilahukumullah. Innama ilahukum ilahun wahid. Your Lord is one. Ilahun wahid. Yeah? So innama over here, what does it do, people? It creates a type of specificity or exclusivity. So in this context, if you look at the translation, the exclusivity has been accounted for via the word only in English. Look, actions are only by intentions. Actions are only by intentions. So the question here is, what does that mean? Actions are only by intention. Because by itself, it doesn't necessarily make sense. Because, for example, Ibrahim came inside the mosque. Ibrahim set all this up. Ibrahim would leave the mosque. He may have had no intention. Is the action complete or incomplete? Did he manage to do whatever he wanted to do? Yeah, he did it. So with or without intentions, acts get done. I'm gonna open this book. I'm gonna close this book. Look, I close the book. And now he'll open the book. These are actions that I am what? Undertaking without intention. And yet the hadith are saying actions are only by intentions. So what is the mahdhuf here? Mahdhuf is the word we use for something's implicit in the Arabic that you're gonna have to spell out. So because the translator here has gone for a literal translation, he didn't spell it out. Yeah, he didn't spell it out. But here there are two implicit understandings here. Two implicit understandings. There's a Shafi'i one and there's a Hanafi one. We'll talk more about it in detail. But here, if we take the Shafi'i one, it is that the legitimacy, the acknowledgement of actions are premised on intentions. Legitimacy. Legitimacy in Arabic we use siha. Siha means the acknowledgement, the acceptance of an act. It's only by intention.
So to be effective, then you have to
Effective is a good word. Effective. So what that means is if you do something without intention, that act is not effective. Like I'll give you a very easy example so it'll make sense for you. Uncle, if somebody comes to the masjid without any intention, just says Allahu Akbar and starts praying without any intention, is he praying? Or what prayer is he praying? Nothing. Because the purpose of the intention is to do the word takhsis. The purpose of the intention is to specify what prayer is he praying. Is he praying fard? Is he praying wajib? Is he praying sunnah? Is he praying mustahab? And if he's praying fard, is it of asr? Is it of isha? Is it of maghrib? Is it of this? If somebody has zero intention, then what prayer is he praying? Nothing. So the Shafi'i argument is this. If somebody has zero intention to fast, somebody, look, let's call Zayd. Right? Zayd is the example we give. Let's say Zayd woke up late in the morning. So he woke up late. So let's say he had no breakfast. He prayed his Fajr, went back to sleep, and then he woke up late. So he quickly washed his face and showered and whatever, left the house without breakfast. Soon as he got to work, he was working, and then lunchtime, back-to-back meetings. So he prayed his Zohar, had no food, and then Asr time, had no food. He prays Maghrib, and then he goes home, and then he has food. So basically, Zayd, from the morning till after Maghrib, has had zero food, has had zero drink, and has no relations. Has he fasted? Has he fasted? Why not? He had no intention. He's incidentally fast. Incidentally meaning he ended up fasting because he didn't eat, drink, or the things that are you're supposed to refrain from. But because there's no intention, this is not a fast. Yeah, if he intended, it could have turned out a fast, but he didn't. So there's no act here. There's zero act. As a fiqh, we did that, right? In fiqh, remember we said that he can make the intention before midday. So long as he hasn't done anything. This is a fiqh discussion we discussed last year. You guys should know, if you remember. In the Hanafi madhab, a person can delay the intention of the fast up to when? Before midday, right? Midday, up to before zawal. So this Zayd, for example, realizes he's got up late, realizes he's gone to work, realizes he's got back-to-back meetings. That means he's not got time for lunch. If he makes the intention that, okay, I'm fasting for today. Okay, now, but key word here is intention. Intention. That's what this chapter is about, or this hadith is about, intention. So the acceptability, the legitimacy of the act which is fasting, or the effectiveness, as Uncle said, the effectiveness of fasting comes into act when? Manifest intention. Without intention is nothing. So this is the Shafi'i reading of the hadith. The Hanafi reading of the hadith is kamal. Kamal means perfection. Perfection of acts or by intention. Perfection of acts or by intention. Now I'll explain why there's ikhtilaf here. It goes back to, this word al-a'mal. al-a'mal, innamal binniyat. By al-a'mal, what do we mean? By al-a'mal, the question is, what do we intend by acts? Because the two examples that I gave, uncle, one of fasting, one of prayer, these are specific types of a'mal. We call these ibadat. We call these acts of ritual, ibadat. Yeah. So your zakat, for example, is ibadah. Your hajj is ibadah. Your fasting is ibadah. Your saum is ibadah. Your salah is ibadah. And all of us, the Hanafi, non-Hanafi, we all agree that ibadat require intention. Ibadat require intention. In order for an ibadah to act as an ibadah, to function, to perform as an ibadah, it requires intention. All of you, even your iman, if you remember that discussion we had, even your iman. In other words, to become Muslim, you need to say what? La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Imagine a non-Muslim professor was explaining to his non-Muslim class that Muslims believe that if you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, you become Muslim. So has he become Muslim because he said it? Why not? Allah, there you go. Because there's an intention, right? So there's a key thing here. He's just repeating third person. So just because he's repeating what someone said doesn't mean that he himself is committed to it or believes it. So therefore he's not a Muslim. The same we said with prayer, with salah. That intention is a prerequisite. Without intention, the prayer doesn't really mean much. And then we said regarding fasting that without intention, or whether this is a fast, this is a qada fast, this is a nafil fast, this is a Ramadan fast, fard fast, wajib fast, all of this without the intention, then what type of psalm is this going to be? And then with zakat, same thing. With zakat, if you recall, giving someone charity is absolutely what is recommended. But is this charity that you're giving to X person zakat, or is it just you giving lillah, what we call lillah, or just a voluntary donation? And the same goes for Hajj. Inshallah, you guys remember when you put your ihram on, when you put the ihram on, are you doing umrah? Are you doing Hajj? If Hajj, are you doing Hajj tamattu? Are you doing Hajj qiran? Are you doing Hajj ifrad? So intention, people, is necessary. Intention necessary. So there's actually, for Ustaz Ahmad, I'm going to introduce another word now, apart from ibadat, adat. Adat. Adat means habits. So how do you distinguish a habit from an act of ritual? So they say intention. Because if you're performing the acts of salah without intention, then you're doing yoga, Ustaz Nisar, or you're doing stretches. You see them people right in the gym doing the sujood and the ruku. They're doing stretches. They're not praying salah because no intention over here, right? Someone who is fasting without intention is dieting. Ada. Right? This is ada. What the people, are we okay with this? Come on.
The difference between Nia and Azima. You have Azima to do something. Or is that the formulation of Nia in Insan?
We will discuss this. I will discuss this in a moment. Yeah, it's good you prompted this question. So the Ustaz Nisar asked, what is the meaning of azm? Azm. So there's niyyah, there's ham, there's azam. We'll look at all these words in light of a hadith I'm going to make us read after this hadith. So this is a disclaimer just in response to Ustaz Nisar's question. Whenever I teach Nawi Arba'in, I don't follow the order of the book necessarily because I feel that there are hadiths elsewhere that are related to the hadith that we're reading. So when we read hadith number 1, we will read hadith number 37 and 39 in conjunction. And there the hadith will come, the hadith of ham, and then azam, and these other words that we were looking at, I will explain what those mean. So bear with. Right? I don't mean to tell you I'm not going to answer the question. I am 100% going to answer the question. I want to reassure you. Right? Ibrahim, what's your question?
You know, at school, there's a theory that I learned, and I basically explained all of this. I think it's called. What's it called? Huh?
What's the theory?
Or I don't know the name. I think it's like deontology, and it basically
Ontology. What is ontology, people? The-
basically just says
why? Why? They're asking the why. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? The why and the how. So is everyone okay with what A'mal, right? So A'mal, I said to you, one reading of A'mal. By the way, this is the reading of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah. This is the reading of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah based on what? I don't think we discussed this, or did I discuss this? But Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, in the Muqaddimah, so I'm looking on page 3 at the very bottom, last sentence. Then I decided to follow it up with a chapter elucidating what is hidden in their wordings. So Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, this chapter, by the way, is not found in the majority of the 40 books. Hence, when I studied this for the first time, my teacher told me that this chapter doesn't exist. But the subsequent editions, more recent ones, actually have this manuscript. They found the manuscript in which Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, what he does after the 42 hadiths, is one small chapter where he explains certain words or vocabulary that he feels I need to explain, or as he said here, certain meanings that are hidden. So Imam Nawawi rahimahullah explains al-a'mal. He explains it. He says, لا تحسب الأعمال الشرعية إلا بالنية. So the word a'mal shar'iyya. So what he's saying over here is acts of ritual are not considered except by intention. And we in agreement. We the Hanafiya also in agreement. The acts of ritual, ibadat, require intention. Because without intention, so no problem. No problem. That's something else. So let's say, for example, the question here, Ustaz Ahmed asking, what if your ibadah becomes an aada? That's not what the meaning of adat meant in the first example that I give you. Yeah? Habits are outside of ritual, things that everyone does anyway. Like all of us, do all of us, for example, when we wake up, inshallah, when we wake up, do we not wash ourselves? Do we not go to the bathroom? Do we not brush our teeth? Right? Do we not brush our teeth? Yeah, do we have breakfast? Yeah, we have breakfast. Do we wear clothes? Yeah, we wear clothes. These are adatun nas. Do we not come downstairs, or come down the stairs, or leave the house, sit in our car? These are things that we all do. These are adat, right? So here, this is the equation. Remember this, right? For all ibadat, we require niyat. For adat, you don't require niyyah, but if niyyah is made for adat, you convert the adat into ibadat. This is the thing you have to understand, right? Look, all of us are getting up. All of us. Who here is not going to work? Inshallah, all of us are going to work, right? Here, it's okay. With what intention are you going to work? With what intention are you, for example, sitting in the classroom? With what intention are you leaving the mosque? With what intention are you sitting in the car? With what intention? With what intention? So every act of ada can become an act of ibadah if done with the right reason. And we'll come to this in a moment. I'm going to come to this in a moment, right? So what the question here is, the big question here is, al-a'mal here, does it refer to all physical human activity, or does it require, or does it intend something specific? Here, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah has given you the specific meaning, which is ritual, ibadat, in which case we're good. In which case, this hadith absolutely, Hanafi, Shafi, all sides agree. Hanafi, Shafi, all sides agree that without intention, no act of ritual is proper. Is everyone okay with this? With this much, inshallah, is easy, right? Innamal a'malu binniyat. So when he says actions are only by intentions, you can write underneath actions, acts of ritual actions, i.e. ibadat, are only proper, are only accepted by intentions. Because the reverse of this is someone who undertakes acts of ritual, ibadat, without any intention.